It's punk theology.
Triggered as fuck. I don't know. Is that what we're talking about?
Haven't we done Triggered before?
Yeah, but this is a different time, Derek. Holy shit, man. This is like just surviving, I don't know, living through. It's funny. We have 3 generations here, and it's all our first freaking pandemic, right?
True. Yeah.
At least deadly pandemic.
Yeah. There hasn't been a real pandemic in a long time. There's been epidemics, but not a pandemic.
Yeah, was 1917 or?
Yeah, I guess Spanish flu was probably the last one, 1918, 1917, yeah.
Yeah, that was a while back.
Yep.
So, Derek, you got some bad news, right?
Yeah,
Chuck is here. Chuck is here. Look.
There we go.
Right on. I just, where is he? Hold on.
I got together with him last
There he
week.
is.
Hey!
Voila!
Chuck! You got to click that mic button, buddy.
Audio.
Bottom left.
Audio.
Oh, man, you're awesome, man. I miss that.
Hello.
I miss
Hey,
that.
buddy.
Does it sound? Do I sound okay?
You sound awesome. You look great, Chuck.
Well, thank you. So do you. I'm going through the headphones. Wanted to see.
Yeah, you've got a slight delay between your lips and your audio. It's super distracting, but that's fine.
Yeah, it's like we're watching some foreign film been dubbed.
Yay!
How's your ceiling, Chuck?
Bullshit.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I am gonna be tearing down the rest of it tomorrow or the next day.
Wow. So you're just going to go like a big vaulted ceiling kind of thing going on?
No, I'm adding 2x6 joists.
Wow.
You really shouldn't be having living space upstairs. And so figured, beef it up. And this all started because I wanted a new ceiling fan. The wiring is shoddy because it's an old Everett house, and well, it turned into remodeling part of the living room.
Yep, that's how that goes.
Yeah, all these houses are like almost 100 years old around here, right? Ours is built in the 30s. We're close.
Mine's from 1930. What year is yours, Chuck?
12 or 15.
Okay.
Wow.
You win.
I did win.
I was going through a box of postcards. My wife and I are going through a bunch of shit that we're trying to like get rid of and burn and stuff. We have all these boxes from my great aunt of postcards, and one of them was from my grandma, and we're just gonna burn all this shit, right? And then I find one from my grandma from like 1915, like old Grandma Thompson, like my great grandma. And I don't know, you guys, so here's a question: am I a hoarder? It's just weird to burn shit like that, right? Like it feels, I don't know, it feels like burning a piece of family history. I put it on Facebook in the group. We have like a family group of old photos and shit.
Whatever does it bring you joy, Russ?
Right?
Marie
Not really. It's just I forget about it.
Then you're a hoarder.
Yeah.
Maybe. I used to smoke a shit ton of weed, and so if I don't,
420,
see it, I won't remember it. Like it'll be gone from my memory, probably by the end of this broadcast.
Happy 420 to everybody, by the way.
Yeah.
It's the big one.
So I was at Diamond Vet picking up meds for the dog, and it's a drive-in out. You drive through. They come out. You call them. They bring your meds out. Car next to me, this big-ass St. Bernard comes out with the techs. And she goes, well, we got a couple options. And I'm listening. And she goes, my preference is that we keep him a couple of nights, put him from IV fluids, because when he ingested the chocolate edibles, it's not doing his system very good. His elevated heart rate, his blood pressure. But if that's not going to be financially feasible for you, you can take him home, but you might be bringing him back in a hurry. And I'm trying to string my meeting out. Okay, get this a little bit longer. Take longer to get my meds for my dog so I can. And I never did hear what happened, but
It was a St. Bernard, you said?
eating the chocolate edibles.
At least it wasn't a Chihuahua.
Yeah, exactly.
dead.
This thing's probably 200 pounds at least. It was huge.
Wow.
Russ teased me, and then he welcomed Chuck in, and
Well, my Chuck knows. My uncle died yesterday from COVID-19.
really,
Yeah, it's pretty shitty, honestly.
I'm sorry.
It kind of hit us sideways. He had kind of a rough lot in life in general. He was born pretty mentally handicapped. According to my grandfather, the doctor was drunk that delivered him
Oh,
and didn't get him breathing fast enough.
right.
Wow.
And so he had pretty severe oxygen deprivation for a couple of minutes right after he was born.
Now, is that your dad's or mom's side?
My dad's side. Yeah, and he was going to be really smart. Like, he's kind of that classic Rain Man idiot savant type where struggled at times to take care of himself, struggled through school, but he had all of the stats. I think it was the 1973 through and 1973, 74, and 75 MLB from the back of the baseball cards. Every stat.
Really?
Memorized. Every stat. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Memorize that stuff.
Yeah, he
How
was,
old was he?
he was 70. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was hard to tell how much longer he would have had.
Right.
My grandma just died the month before, and he could do a so-so job of taking care of himself. He didn't live a very healthy lifestyle, but he at least had his own place. But there was some concern about how he was going to get taken care of with my grandmother dead. But mostly it's just he really loved family. He really loved people. He worked for Pillsbury for like 40 years or something like that. He was kind of a bit of an icon over there. Everybody that worked there knew him because he'd worked there for so long.
Did you ever poke you in the tummy when you were little? That's a classic Pillsbury move.
Nope.
If I went to Pillsbury, I'd
yeah.
be doing that shit all the time.
Yes, it's just kind of a shitty way to go out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, he was such a family guy and such a people person. He loved hanging out with people, and to have him kind of confused by himself in isolation in some hospital bed somewhere was kind of a shitty
So
way to go.
did he have it for long? Was it a drawn out process?
Maybe 10 days, not terribly long. They could tell early on that it was going to be bad. And they were saying if he did make it through, he's probably going to end up in physical therapy for a long time just because it was messed him up. And then I guess his kidneys shut down, which I guess is becoming a more and more common thing for people as their kidneys start to fail. It was kind of one of those things where, like, in the long term, it might be a good thing that he just went, because he was going to be pretty messed up if he came through it.
Now, isn't it
but
kind of like COPD on steroids?
what's COPD?
Cardio obstructed. It's like a pneumonia, emphysema, asthma.
Yeah, it's like a crazy version
Right.
of it's pneumonia, and then and for different people it shuts different things down.
Right.
Some people are actually having like significant mental
Really.
repercussions.
Lack of oxygen.
They don't know what that one is. That one comes from, they first started to identify that as an issue when the lack of smell and taste came,
Right.
and they were into that, and that's like it's more of a brain thing than it is a. So then they started exploring people for symptoms, and some people have, like, it kind of fucked their head up a little bit. So it just totally depends on the person, it seems like.
Well, my dad
But,
died
yeah.
of COPD,
Okay.
and his kidneys and heart failed.
Yeah.
But he'd had COPD for probably 15 years.
Yeah.
And that's
So
his
that's what sucks about this too. Is like there was no one with him, right? Like no
Yeah, it was just so it sounds
staff.
like, so his sister got all, bundled up with a mask and everything. And when they pulled him off the ventilator, she was able to be there for half an hour. So he was pretty far gone. I don't think he knew that she was there, but at least she could be there.
Right.
Yeah.
And then my dad and his brothers did a Zoom meeting for half an hour. So they were able to be there remotely, which is better than nothing, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it hit my dad really hard. My dad's been kind of defending his brother for 70 years or 65 years. And it's just a shitty way to go out. It was just not, considering how much he struggled in life and how much shit he had to go through. It seems like a pretty unfair way to make somebody go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He was good. He was a genuinely good person. He was a really nice guy.
So was he in Idaho or California?
No, he was in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
And
that's where my dad's from. So Minneapolis, yeah, and I guess the one good thing is Minneapolis just wasn't hit very hard by the virus yet.
Yeah.
So at least the nurses had time to take care of him and make sure that he was comfortable and all that stuff.
That's really good.
Yeah. So I mean, if looking for any silver lining, that was a big one. Yeah. And my dad said he talked to the nurses a couple of times, and he said both the nurses and doctors seemed really attentive and like they'd had time to really figure out what was going on, and we're keeping a close eye on him. So at least he didn't go out miserable.
Yeah, that's the thing about the being overwhelmed and flattening the curve and all that. Now the hospitals here, I heard, are, they want to open them up again there's less not COVID patients, and that's been a whole thing. But yeah, it's a weird time. If somebody has a heart attack, is there going to be enough beds? And they're like leaving beds open just in case all of a sudden a flood of people come in, and now like is that smart to do? Let the hospitals handle this. It's weird the government's getting involved and shit like that. And then in the Midwest, there's all these protests. Like that's kind of triggering the fuck out of me a little bit. It's like we have the right to assemble in this country, which is great, but you can't just barrel your truck through a crowd of people because freedom. It's kind of, I don't know. Is that what they're doing?
It's
so
definitely
subjective that it's hard for people to really wrap their mind around it, right?
It's definitely right up against that line, which is why I think it's so disturbing. There's the whole libertarian thing of you can swing your fist as much as you want as long as it doesn't hit my nose.
Yeah.
And this is there's some nose bumping. Like it's about as gray as you can get with those. And it's funny seeing the protests. It's like the people are just packed in together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, okay, like you're just gonna go for it.
Yeah.
Some of the protests that I like though are my neighbor's telling me about her neighbor growing up was a part of a protest back east, and they decided that they were going to flood the town with driving around. And so they essentially just created traffic jams in all of these cities. Nobody got out of their car. They're just
Well, that won't work
driving
now
around the
because there's
block.
no traffic.
Yeah. There was a dude in Colorado. There's a bunch of hospital employees in Colorado that walked out, and there was like a video I saw on Twitter or something. And this guy is wearing scrubs and standing in front of this truck full of fucking rednecks, in Colorado. And they're all like, and he's holding the sign, and the other guy's got like America flag, and he's just standing there like, no, like go the fuck home, Listen to fucking experts. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, I get it. When this thing started, I think a lot of us were like that. Like, I was like, it's a flu virus. I even have a friend who works in healthcare. It's like, it's an aggressive flu virus. We just didn't know a lot back then. But now we know.
The numbers still indicate that, though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
Numbers are all over the place.
They are. That's the hard part.
I think the lowest death rate that they have so far is either South Korea or Germany. And Germany's still got like close to 3% death rate. So we just don't know enough about it the bottom line is if we just let it go, it'll overwhelm the hospitals. Like, clearly there's what, 7, 8 examples of that happening right now. Yeah. Like that's something we know, that if you just let it go, hospitals will get crushed. I think that's ultimately what it comes down to. But yeah, I don't know. I saw a thing in Israel where they're protesting Netanyahu because he's under corruption investigation. He just retained control of the government. But they were in a big grid pattern where they were 6 feet apart from each other in a big grid for the protest. I thought that was kind of interesting, but the Americans didn't do that. Americans just made a big old cluster up in front of the Capitol building.
There's all these weddings on YouTube now where people are doing that. Like they're going to weddings on a grid, and it's an outdoor wedding and somebody's, facilitating it. And that's kind of cool, I guess. I don't know.
I think people are still getting sick from that, but maybe not as many.
Yeah. I've heard that there's been an explosion in weddings, because it's like a really good excuse to elope, if you didn't want to have a great big ceremony, like this is a really good time to, oh fuck yeah, let's get married now,
Hey honey,
invite your dad.
We can save $8,000.
Yeah, we can save $8,000.
Great excuse. Yeah.
That horrible uncle of yours doesn't have to come, all right?
Right.
We have an excuse. He can tune in on Zoom and we can
a Zoom wedding.
Yeah, they're having those. They are having Zoom weddings.
Yeah. If
someone Zoom wedding, Chuck?
Oh, I'm all down for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it saves them $8,000.
Yeah, it saves me money, and then I'll invite everybody. And then, hey, by the way, send me $200.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
There you go. There's a cat butt on the camera. Look at that. Steve's got the
It's my wife's cat.
black cat just crossed your path.
Yeah, I know, right?
I like your pussy, Steve.
Oh, you say that to all the girls.
No, just the guys.
My dog's out in the kitchen.
So are you unemployed, Chuck? How's the employment situation going for you?
No, I'm busier than shit. My boss thinks that I'm essential and that I should be. I'm so essential that I need to show up to the office every day.
Wow.
Yeah, we're busy. I'm kind of like outside of this weird bubble. Business is actually increased. We just hired a guy at the beginning of last month. We're looking at hiring another guy at the beginning of next month. We're just slammed with work.
Wow.
And you would have
Derek
no
said
idea.
it's kind of the same thing, right, Derek? Or
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of work.
Civil engineers.
Well, the only thing that's left to do right now is planning. So nobody's doing construction, and all the work's just going straight to planning.
Yeah.
So, there's a ton of planning to be done. And government's probably going to start pumping out money, so our grant funding will probably go up, which is a good thing. But again, I talked about this last week, Chuck, of kind of feeling like I'm missing out a little bit. Of like, man, I kind of wish I was stuck at home doing nothing. Like that sounds kind of cool.
It sounds.
I got shit done today. I felt good about myself. I fixed the dishwasher draining shit. I mowed the yard, did a bunch of yard stuff. So I have a sense of feeling accomplished, at least for all the shit I've been putting off for fucking months. Oh, I installed my water filter for the fucking refrigerator that I bought like 8 months ago. I'll get around to that, $13 you pay for it, and it sits on the shelf until today. So.
Yeah, but a lot of that stuff's like Chuck's ceiling fans. It never is as easy as you hope it would be.
Yeah, this
So
$25 ceiling fan that I bought is turning into, I'm in it about $1,000 right now. But I'm going to be in it another 2 to 3 when it all comes to being done.
That's a lot of work, dude.
Yeah, and the work.
I'm unemployed, and so I guess the state said that, oh yeah, April 18th we'll have the whole, the site running, and we'll have a link for gig workers and all that. And I've been on it since Sunday. Sunday it was just down all day, and then today it was spotty. So in order to file for unemployment, I might have to get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning when people aren't using the website. It's like, fuck, I don't know. We got Microsoft and Amazon Web Services are here, yet the state can't get their shit together. It's, we're overwhelmed. Look, How many people use fucking Amazon every day? You know, Facebook is the second largest hub of operation for Facebook. Is here in the Seattle area, and they don't get fucking overwhelmed. We're using Zoom right now. There's probably millions of people also using it. Like, don't give me this. I don't know. I'm pissed off. Like, that's where I'm pissed off at the government for not
Classic government. Government's never going to be able to invest in
do it fast, right? Like, fill the fucking digital potholes, motherfucker. Come on.
Nope. Not going to happen.
It's
I went on partial unemployment last week.
You did?
Yeah, I got half my pay cut.
That
Oh
sucks.
man.
But partial is $409 a week.
Yeah. Well, better than zero.
Yeah, I know, exactly. But we did get we got our mortgage rolled back 3 months,
Nice.
put at the end of our loan. So I don't have I got property taxes, but I don't have a mortgage for 3 months. That helps. That's huge.
You working overtime, Chuck?
Yes. Yeah. Well, and it's funny. So the kids aren't in school.
Yeah.
So I've been, the weeks I have them, I start at 5 or so in the morning and then I leave at noon. And so I'm not really putting in a full day. And my boss is pissed every day. He says, "Oh, you're leaving again?" It's like, yeah. I gotta fucking go home and help my kids learn.
Yeah, your boss is a total prick.
Yeah.
Man, dude, that's hard. Single dad, taking care of the kids and working hard. I'm proud of you, Chuck. You're
And then trying to figure out how to date some girl that lives in fucking Tacoma.
oh man.
Marry her.
Although I will say, I'm kind of excited about this whole stay-at-home shit because traffic is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. I drove to West Seattle, picked up a chipper, brought it back, and it took me like an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. It was awesome.
Wow.
It was amazing.
And then the police don't pull you over.
At 3:45 in the afternoon. That's when I did it.
Yes, it's unheard of.
Yeah.
And the police just don't care
No, they can't.
how fast you go.
They're not allowed to pull you over unless you're like actually into reckless.
Yeah, I saw an article that said that as long as you stay under reckless, which is about 15 to 16 miles an hour over the speed limit, then you're fine.
Yeah, I heard that if you double the speed limit, it's a felony. Those are the people that are like. There was some cops. I follow a bunch of cops on Twitter because sometimes that's pretty fun to watch, and they're posting pictures of like the speed thing in the corner, and some dude in a Honda pulled over. Like, this motherfucker was doing 120, 130 miles an hour in a freaking.
Well, it's easier to do if you're doing a 40 and a 20.
Well, so I quadrupled a speed limit once.
Oh man.
A 5 mile an hour speed limit.
No, it was 25. There's a section it's about a mile and a half of road in Pittsburgh that is technically posted at 25 miles an hour. And if you're doing 60 or less, you're going to get hit. I mean, people just cruise through there at 100 and change. It's the strangest stretch of road.
I always thought it was 5-year fine, 9-year mine. That's what they told me driving back from Montana.
Well, that's what
I operated at 10%. You can justify 10% of anything. So if you're 10% over the speed limit, it's your radar gun, my speedometer, my human error, and you're fine. So
I'm gonna let my dog out. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I've heard that cops won't pull you over if you're going over, like, it's 70. You have to be going 70 or better before they'll pull you over. I have a friend who he has a good buddy who's a state patrolman, and he said that he wouldn't answer that question. Like, he was asking him, so you won't pull people over 70, right? And he's like, I can't tell you that, But that's what that's what they say. Where the fuck they are.
Yeah, whoever the fuck that is, right?
I'm triggered by they as well. The angry person in me is trying to. I don't know. I'm in a weird place where I'm sort of getting angry about weird shit, but I still have the other part of me it's like that teenage me thing again, right? Like there's that kind of metalhead teenage part of me that's just like wants to fucking react to what's going on. And my wife and I had an argument or a fight or whatever this morning, and it was just, and we had to both like just, we're gonna get through this. Like we just want something definitive to happen. We did get an email yesterday from our lawyer. We're in bankruptcy, and the lawyer said, kind of like Steve's situation, where they're going to push back 2 payments, so we don't have to make 2 payments. But that's already March and April, but they're expecting payment in May, which we can use our stimulus money for if we ever get it. Still haven't got that yet. But yeah, it's just like the money's not coming in. It's just the uncertainty of it and the not knowing when, this whole thing with the website, I think this morning was really frustrating for me. And like you guys told us a month ago that this was going to be ready. And now that it's ready, no one can use it. It's like, it's just, one day at a time.
Breathe, Russ, breathe.
Yeah. Going back to that kind of, living my life in 24-hour increments and realizing that has been a huge settler for me,
Chuck, are you tapping?
No.
The noise stopped. Did you
weird.
hear the click, click, click?
I did hear that.
When Russ was talking, yes.
Yeah.
It was Steve. Was I moving the chair? Maybe it was the
my
chair.
dog.
I have my computer sitting on a bar stool kind of chair in front of me.
You know what's really annoying? The fucking camera keeps switching.
Oh, you can
You
change
can go
that
to
setting.
gallery in the corner and change
Hit.
Go to
Yeah.
gallery.
Oh, that's way better.
it. You got the 4 of us, like the Brady Bunch thing going on?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's how I'm doing the thing. Speaker view. What the fuck is speaker view? Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's when
It's when the
person speaking comes. Yeah, it's terrible.
I feel like I'm lacking on the background of me. I mean, Russ has just got all kinds of shit going on.
I'm in my
Steve has a
studio,
little picture
baby.
You can do
And
fake
is that
backgrounds, Chuck. Did you know that? You can do
Oh,
virtual
Yeah, you can do
backgrounds.
fake backgrounds. Look, I got my group therapy sign. Can you see it?
how do you do that? Video settings?
Yeah, so video
Analog. This is my
video
analog
settings, and then
background.
I think it's called virtual backgrounds.
Analog background setting.
Nope, don't have that.
You've upgraded it, Russ.
Yeah, we got unlimited minutes.
Oh, sweet. I didn't even know I did that.
Thanks,
Push the
buddy.
right button or something.
Thanks,
Did you
Russ.
see- Did you see that video where the boss turned themselves into a potato?
Arctic.
No.
Joke?
What?
And then there's a filter where you can turn yourself into a potato,
Really?
but then
I
she
like
couldn't,
it.
but then she couldn't figure out how to turn it off, so she had to do the whole meeting as a
Oh,
potato.
God, that's push my boss would do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Should
it's
do
pretty
that.
good.
Karen, I'm gonna need to see you in my office. I wasn't very professional.
Need my stapler. Stapler.
Yeah, so today was like, so this morning was like, and then today later, I guess talking things out was helpful, and then getting some shit done was helpful. And I feel better seeing you guys too. Like this is huge, even though it's on a screen. You guys look like it's a Brady Bunch episode or some shit. I still, it feels good.
I'm looking at you now.
I know I drove over to Chuck's last week, and he and the boys and I walked for about an hour. It was awesome. I
Yeah, it
had to
was
get
a good
out of
time.
here. I had to get out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't mow my yard every day.
Have you been mowing?
Oh, I could,
Yes, you
but
can.
the neighbors are really going to worry.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
There's a whole group of people that are your age, Steve, that just mow the lawn every day.
God, it's insane. It's insane.
I saw some meme out there with all the hair cutters, and barbers that are off work, and they're out there with scissors, cutting the lawn.
That's when I was in India at the Taj Mahal. That's how they cut their lawn. They had these stools and these guys out there sitting on the stools with these little scissors, and they'd cut the lawn with the scissors.
Like regular scissors or edge
Well, I
trimmers?
mean, they were about the same size as regular scissors. No, it was a hand scissor thing. It wasn't.
Wow.
That's what happens when you have really cheap labor and a really fancy. I mean, the lawn looked amazing. It's one of the best lawns I've ever seen. But
That's because it was freshly cut every day.
yep, trimmed by a bunch of people sitting on stools.
Is that like a religion thing too? It's like
Maybe.
they do it for free because kind of like, I don't know, passing the plate.
I
Or
don't-
something.
I think it has more to do with really, really cheap labor.
Could be too. Yes. The Taj Mahal.
Yeah, they got plenty of people over there.
So are you, Russ, in the basement?
I'm in the basement. Yeah, basement studio. I thought this would be a fun place to do this.
Did you see oil's better than free today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did it end up like, minus 40?
37, I think.
30?
Wow.
Yeah. So if you got a place to store it and a way to move it, people will pay you a lot of money to take their oil.
I like your
Solution?
solution. Just dump it in the ocean. Get paid lots of money.
Yeah. And the government will
dump it down
fine
the
you.
drain.
The
Yeah.
government will fine you, but only 25% of what you made on your rest. Or like I said, like there's all those oil sands up in Canada. Can we put the oil back? Can we just
No.
dump the oil out in the sands and it'll
I remember Mucko
We gotta figure out how
had
to
those big oil docks. Do you guys remember that? That was probably
Yeah.
Steve. Like
That's
oil
what the new
dock.
ferry dock is, isn't it?
Yeah, they tore all that stuff out. They're probably thinking we could have used that now. And there's like 4 of them. They were just huge, and that's what they were. They were for oil, and they'd store, and now they're gone because of the environment or sea turtles or whatever.
We've got to
Do
figure
we
out
even
how to
have sea
reverse.
turtles? You would know, Derek, right? Is there fucking sea turtles in Washington? I don't know.
Why would Derek know?
It doesn't come up very often.
You're
I don't know.
like the ecology guy, right? I don't know. It's in your job title.
I don't know that I've heard of many sea turtles up here. There might be, but
It doesn't come up very
No.
often. That's
orcas. We have orcas.
Mm.
We have salmon. But I don't know about sea turtles.
funny. Sea lions.
Yep, we do have sea lions. Lots of those.
I heard they spotted a white one, like an albino one. Was
Yeah.
that recently?
Orca, you mean? Yeah, it was recent.
Orca, yeah.
Why do you gotta be racist, Russ?
I know, right?
Yeah, Russ, come on.
The white ones.
Can't we just get along?
They're gonna go protest this COVID thing. It's created by the government.
Yeah.
It was created by Obama.
The white
Oh,
whales.
Steve, did you watch that video that you sent me?
Yeah. Did you?
What are your thoughts?
On JFK or the other one?
Yeah, JFK Jr.
Speaking of conspiracies,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's it. So wasn't your father-in-law in the queue?
what's that?
Wasn't your father-in-law in the queue? The
In the queue? What do you
conspiracy
mean?
queue?
Oh yeah, he's like what? He was a Q guy, I
Q and
guess.
No, I've been reading this. I'm following him on Twitter now.
I'm gonna refill, by the way.
Are you?
The dog's barking.
Yes, he is.
I was drinking
Here's
cheap
the-
light beer in the last episode. All I have is moonshine. No, it's water. I do have moonshine though. Actually, I have some moonshine over here that's been aging in Swedish fishes since like 2015. I shit you not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it. I'll be right back.
Hi, Derek.
What's up, Chuck? This
is
is
really-
a weird podcast episode.
This is really weird.
Yep. Zoom is a weird thing.
Yes.
There's been lots of talk on the interwebs about, because Zoom just kind of came out of nowhere. It was this small little company.
Yes.
And there's already plenty of other platforms that work really well for it, including Discord. Discord's probably the best one, but I figured boomers wouldn't use anything called Discord because it doesn't.
We might.
But they like the name Zoom. 'Cause that's a boomer word right there. Zoom.
Right.
Zoomer. That's what the Z kids are called now, right? The Zoomers, Z
I
generation.
hate that. I don't know if the Zoomers called themselves that. I think it's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. Boomers make sense. Zoomers doesn't make any sense.
I think it was sort of maybe it was like a comeback for OK Boomer.
Yeah, it sounds like something the boomers would come up with.
Yeah.
Probably.
There's kind of a one-
Okay, Zoomer. You Zoomer, you.
But I'm on the lower end of the Zoomers.
Yeah, okay.
Ish
Boomers.
shine. This is about 100 and when I put it in there, it was about 130, 140 proof.
Hold on.
It's just
Now
Swedish.
now it's Swedish fish proof.
All right.
So did you watch it, Russ or Chuck?
Yeah,
Watch that JFK thing?
I did. I really like learning about crazy people and their
That's kind of me.
conspiracy theories.
That's kind of
Like I'm totally okay with flat earthers. I think they're absolutely bonkers. However, okay, if you want to think that the Earth's flat, go ahead. Some of this
So do
stuff,
they think that we that believe the Earth is round are as crazy as we think they are?
yes, yeah, they do.
That's what's
But with
odd. Because
with
that's
respect
one
to
of the
some
things
of
I've been
this-
thinking about is, I've got some strong beliefs and some strong thoughts, but I've tried to put myself in the other person's belief system and think they think I'm as nuts as I think they are,
That's correct.
which is kind of hard to figure out. But
Well, it's how do you interact with these people on an everyday basis? How do you provide a platform to open up and communicate with them on a more of a, a deeper level than just surface bullshit, the Earth's flat?
yeah, for me, I just kind of, you can ask some I'm the opposite of Russ. I'm not going to go in and argue. I'll push some buttons to see how they respond. And if they're open to discussion, I'll talk. But if they're not, I just won't address it. I'm not super into trying to get them to believe like I believe. I just share what I believe, and hopefully they respect my beliefs, and I can respect them. I had a couple of Mormon missionaries swing by the house last summer, and we chatted for about 45 minutes out in the front. And I said, "Hey, I got to go. I got some appointments to get to, but I hope I've communicated to you that I respect what you believe. I don't agree with it, but I respect your belief." And he goes, "No, you're one of the first guys we've ever talked to that we feel like he respected us." That's kind of what I try to do, just respect them. Like we got a gal at church that is really into all the conspiracies. And Chuck and I were talking, and I'm really interested when we get back together just to dialogue with her. I'm not friends with her on Facebook, so I can't really talk to her and I don't ask girls to be friends. If they request me, then I'll be their friend on Facebook, but I don't go out looking for her. That's just me. But
How much
Shit, Russ is racist and you're sexist.
yeah, pretty much. I just feel that's just awkward, but that
I dig
whole
a white
idea
whale, man. I dig a white
that?
whale. I think the white whales are.
the white whale.
So Steve, where I kind of hit home with some of those guys is all of the BS that's more plausible or more true than just plausibility. So this world is rampant with not just child sex trafficking, but just human trafficking.
Right.
And there's all of the evidence that says, okay, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. It's like, okay, I can get on board. I'll believe you. But then they go off into left field.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, wait a second. Like, shit, let's go back to what we know to be more true than just make-believe shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part where you're triggered, right? That's the emotional part where you go, no, that's bullshit. Like that stirs a feeling in you, and you're like, whoa, wait, what? There's that point at which, like, I don't know if I like to argue as much. I think I could respect a Mormon now. I've had Mormons come to the door, and I was shitty to them. Looking back, I don't care what people believe now, like religious wise. But yeah, I feel you, Chuck. Like there's a certain point, and Facebook has been that for me lately. Like I would argue kind of back and forth with some people who are like staunch Trump supporters or even staunch Democrats. Like I'm an equal opportunity offender and trying to argue just to pull out what is it? Why? Because I'm a curious boy. But at the same time, when people start to believe weird shit like that, like some of this fringy Bill Gates like euthanized a bunch of kids, like they believe shit like that. All the creepy, like a bunch of people just, I'm on this thread and talking about Bill Gates, and a bunch of people like added to it, like, oh wow, everybody believes Bill Gates is like the fucking devil or something.
Well, what if he is?
Unsubstantiated. Well, if there was actual research on it, if there was proof.
Russ, there is.
There's not. I mean, he's
Russ,
done some shitty things. He's a billionaire, right? But he's not, he's not fucking doing experiments on African kids and shit like that. It's not too bad.
See, that's why. That's a button, and I'm not going to push it.
What's that?
No, push it.
Push it, Steve.
Because I just ask, what if he is? Like, what if the Little Creek? Okay, we jump on, and absolutely justifiably so. What if that whole thing is also running across the non-church world that we tend to just let go?
Yeah. Well, I think that's where I'm out. Like, I don't want to. It's not that I'm going to argue or get mad about it. It's just like where Facebook starts to get where it's just all people arguing all the time. No one's mind has really changed. Like, it's not the same as this even. It's not really knowing people. It's just kind of like reacting, and you're just like, Where if you're face to face with someone and you can see their emotional reactions, it's a little different. But when you write it, and you post it, and like, oh, I got that guy, right?
And that's easy to hide behind on your keyboard too.
Yeah.
You can say
what I'm saying. And I don't think it's in that way. It's not really a decent form of communication,
right?
To have those conversations.
That's the new model that they're trying to get us to do in sales. Is a lot more phone calls, emails. I can't do that. I've got to be in front of the people.
Yeah.
And I've got people down, my co-salesman down in the Portland office and customer service, they tell me that. They say, Steve, you got to be out in front of the people because your personality is going to win them. You're not going to win people by talking on the phone because I can't see their face. I can't see, are they connected? And that's one of the things that I've hated about this last month is I haven't been out. The only thing I'm going out is I do occasional deliveries, but I'm not going door to door like I used to with the set of customers that I know about. I know so-and-so left her job that I would see her every day or every once a week, and then she left and went to work down in Redmond, and now she's back. Well, I miss that interaction with her. So how's it back now at your same company? Those type of things. And that's one of the things I like this aspect even better, but I really prefer it in person as long as I feel like, we respect one another's views.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
What do you think, Derek?
I feel like we've rehashed this before.
Yeah, good point.
But have you had those kind of, like, you don't do a lot of like fights on social media? I don't think I've ever seen you get in an argument with someone on like social media.
It used to be a more common thing. It's a kind of addiction, I think.
Yeah.
Like you get a rush from it, and then all of a sudden, like I'd notice at work where I was supposed to be working, and then all of a sudden I've noticed I've spent 20 minutes like hashing out this big manifesto that nobody's going to read and nobody cares about.
Rush, right?
Talking to this person who doesn't really even care. And it comes back to that old idea of mental masturbation.
Right.
What are you getting out of this? Like I think it's you all upset, and then it's balanced with this weird superiority complex where you start to feel like you're really, really smart and this person's really, really stupid. And so then your ego gets all caught up in it.
Yeah.
And it's just a massive waste of time. And then you start carrying stress about it too. Like I noticed, like an hour after I have some of those conversations, like I can still kind of feel it in my body.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to die 10 years younger because some asshole on the internet didn't want to listen to what I had to say.
Well, it's a rush. Chuck and I were talking last week because Hickman's he's trying to videotape his messages, but now is AC3 still? Are they streaming their messages, or is Rick?
I have no idea.
Russ, do you know?
No, I heard he's doing Venmo. What's it called? Yeah. So he's streaming. I don't know if he's posting them. He's pre-recording them. I've never watched one.
Isn't Venmo the where I pay you money?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that is. It is.
But it's Venmo. Venmo. Is that what it's called?
Make sure you tithe.
DIM.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
VO or something, right?
Because
if you're gonna have an internet company, I want to be able to pronounce that shit. Like, come on.
Well, when I used to preach, it was a drug. I mean, it was such
How's your sweetest fish, Russ?
It was an adrenaline rush to stand in front of people and get their visual feedback. And to not have that, I'm sure these dudes are going through withdrawal.
Yeah.
They don't have that. They're not having that on Sundays. Rick's not having that
video church like this.
Yeah. Hey, Stevie.
Yeah. So that was
Jose, I guess.
a race there.
So are we taping or are we just going to chat all night?
We're going to chat on it.
It's still
That's good.
recording.
We're
As
recording.
long as it keeps recording. I edited the last episode on the audio end, and I posted the video, and I think like 9 people watched it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot easier to listen to it than it is to watch it nowadays.
I like Chuck's.
How do you want to watch? Why the hell would you want to watch? 4 weirdos
No
anyway.
kidding.
That's what the internet is now.
That is.
Like,
that's right.
I know, right?
So much
Have you
of
guys
YouTube
ever?
is just.
Have you guys ever looked at TikTok?
No, not really. I'm familiar with it.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
people spend a lot of time for 15, 20 seconds worth of fucking shit.
It's just Vine, right? Isn't it just a rehashed Vine?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so. It's a Chinese version of Vine. So it's, and the fact that it's Chinese, I think there's some way they get around the copyright law with the music, because people are like dancing to fucking copyrighted music. That's the only way I know they're getting away with it, unless they're cutting checks to all these people. I don't know, doing a Spotify few cents a play thing. But yeah, they're using fucking copyrighted music right there, and no one.
I like your Sith Lord look there, Chuck.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
We binged that last week. We watched all 9 of them.
Did you?
Yeah.
Which one's
What
the
is
best?
What? There's a new show.
Because
I
I'm a
missed?
purist,
No, Star Wars.
I like 3 the best.
Really?
Yeah, because that's the first one I saw.
Oh, you mean you're talking about Return of the Jedi?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not 3. That's 6.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Mandalorian?
No, that's 3. That was the 3rd one.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless you watch them in the 9. Although I have to admit the last 3 weren't bad. But I just got some loyalty to those middle. Well, isn't it the middle 3? According to the 9. The first 3 that were made. How's that?
Yeah.
4, 5, and 6.
I rewatched them recently, and I realized that there's 2 good Star Wars movies.
Which one did you like?
There's Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
There's the first half of Return of the Jedi, and then there's the first half of what's the 7th one called?
Rogue One. No.
No.
No, it's Force Awakens.
Yeah, Force Awakens.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
Here,
I like the fact that the Return of the Jedi was supposed to be the Revenge of the Jedi.
Really.
They should have kept that title. Yeah.
A lot more guys watching it, right?
Princess Leia, she died like almost a year before the last film was released.
I know. And the
Sleep
crazy-
apnea, Russ.
Yeah, they like fucking CGI'd her in the last one, right? Or
Yeah.
She was
used
only one of the 3 original characters that stayed all the way through the movie.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
technology, right?
Spoilers alert.
Well,
Spoiler
that's. Do you know where the first movie that really did CGI kind of concepts was The Crow?
alert.
Yeah,
Yeah, because Brandon
Yeah.
Lee was killed during, right?
Yeah, he was killed maybe halfway through making
Right.
of the movie.
Brandon Lee's buried up there, and
Yeah, I've been to his headstone.
yeah,
He's next to his dad, isn't he?
Bruce
Yeah,
Lee.
it's a cool headstone.
Yeah,
Is it?
Both of those headstones are pretty cool. Yeah.
Steve,
Well, did they-
another friend of mine, Steve. He works there. He works at that graveyard. It's the Lakeview Cemetery. It's like it's an old endowment cemetery, and so he's in his 30s. He makes a bunch of money working there, like just working the grounds and shit like that, just because it's this old cemetery. He's been working there since high school, I guess. But he said that, yeah, he said people leave all sorts of weird shit on Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee's grave. You know, I go, what's the weirdest thing? He goes, brand new pair of Nike Air Jordans in the fucking box, right? Just left right there, and nobody touched them all day. Like he thought somebody might steal them or something. And then he's like, he keeps asking his boss, like, what should I do with this shit? And his boss is like, I don't care, throw it away. He goes, I can't throw these away.
Kid, man, he had
$300
crows
bird.
attacking him.
He ended up donating them to a homeless thing for youth in the city, which is pretty cool.
Well, doesn't
Because they
Hendrix
didn't fit me, and I would be weird.
Some homeless teenager got his ass kicked for a pair of Jordans.
Traded
Don't
them for
they
an
don't they
8-ball.
leave guitar picks on Hendrix's tombstone?
Yeah.
Down in
Yeah.
Renton?
He said they also leave food. That people would
Yeah.
leave food, like Asian food, you know?
That's Asian thing.
Yeah.
Asian thing. And then the crows, he goes, the fucking crows get it and just drag it all over the cemetery.
Well, that is on character for the Crow.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That was
People
a
are
good-
fucking weird.
That was a good movie. I really
I
liked
love that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was dark, but it was good.
Yeah.
I like that line. What did he say? Mother, what? Mother is God written on the lips of children. It's my one
it. I don't
said
remember
that?
that one.
quote I took from that. Yeah, he's like, we went into that house and that like gal's all cracked out or something.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah. I went down a YouTube rabbit hole. Speaking of Star Wars, on story theory, you know, and the story circle. Have you guys heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Where every story is kind of the same. You know, the protagonist starts here, something ain't quite right, you know, and then there's a consciousness and subconsciousness on the under part, right? And you kind of go in a circle. And they did a bunch of stories, the Star Wars, like the fucking episode 1 through 3, right? The ones that didn't do so hot, you know, the ones that got George Lucas fired from his own fucking movies. Like those had the best story circle. That was funny. It was Anakin's story. The whole thing is Anakin's
Right.
story.
Right. That was with
Yeah.
Liam Neeson was in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Liam
Yeah.
Neeson and what's her name? I
Ewan
forget.
McGregor.
Yeah. But
Well, this is a weird conversation.
it is. Story theory is interesting though, because it's what, like, we all, our fucking brains work that way, right? Like everything's got to be a story. Like if you put things into a story, then we understand it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
It's been a problem with even the virus. I saw this thing recently about how raw cold science just doesn't convince people of things, and it doesn't do behavior change.
Yeah.
If you
They
could
had
put it
somebody
in an
interviewing.
anecdote, it works. But
What's that?
If you can put it in an anecdote or a story, it works.
Yeah.
Like you can teach people things, but yeah, people don't. A lot of people don't learn things by just having facts presented to them.
I don't. Bores the shit out of me. I did horrible in math in school just because it was like a bunch of problems. So like, here, figure these out. And I'm like, fuck that. But when I was in machining, like I aced that class, which I was really surprised. I fucking nailed it because they put it like, here's a problem, solve it. Needs a part.
Chuck, do you want to say something?
I'm raising my hand. I'll take facts any day.
Yeah,
You like the facts.
Yeah, just give me the facts, and you can keep 90% of your story.
Yep.
I guess it depends on the person presenting the facts, you know? Like, do I respect the person who's given me facts? Or are they just, you know, somebody who's droning on and, like, I don't care?
That's the thing about facts, though. Usually the most boring autistic people have the best ones.
Yep. And
So
I think
how
that
did
they're
you
the
all
most
learn
interesting
math
people.
growing up?
What?
How did
From
you
a
learn
teacher.
math?
Yeah, from the
How
teacher.
about school?
Because
From the
see,
school.
I just learned. I memorized fact. I mean, I just memorized the numbers. I never had to go back and explain how I came to that conclusion.
Oh yeah, our teachers were crazy about that shit. You had to show your work. That was the
Yeah.
worst part.
Yeah.
See, I never did.
When I took Calculus 2, I memorized the answers, which there's patterns with Calc 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I failed the midterm, but I got them all right because the teacher said that I was cheating. And then when we took the final, I got a email that said, "Come see me, please." And again, I got them all right, and she wanted to give me an F, but they're all right. I just didn't show any of my work. And so I
Right.
told her to give me an oral exam to prove that I wasn't cheating. And so she did. And at the very end of it, she said, "Okay, I'll give you a passing grade, but how are you doing this? Like you're a genius." And I was like, "No, I'm cheating. I just memorized all the fucking answers." Because it's easier to memorize the answers than it was to memorize or know how to do it.
See, that's how I grew up. Memorizing the multiplication table. That's how we had to do. We had cards. And then once you got them all, 12 times 12, 1 times 1 through 12 times 12, you got your name up on the board. And I was one of the latter ones. But I never understood. And when did that switch over from just memorizing facts to having to understand or describe how you came to that number?
Computers, Steve.
Really?
Computers are really good at
People all learn
memorizing
differently too. You know?
Humans don't need to remember shit anymore.
Yeah.
Nope.
Wow.
Memorization is a worthless skill.
History. Like if you need to know anything historically, I can pull it up on my phone.
Yep, and it'll be
Yeah.
way more accurate than what you think you remember from fourth grade.
Yeah,
That's right.
Point.
Right?
Yeah,
Just like
I do that
spelling.
shit a lot.
Yep.
But I did
You
horribly at
didn't
school
know how
with
to
the
spell
memorization
words either.
Yeah, I didn't do it well either.
I remember
I was never
flashcards and all that.
but-
I was a special ed kid too, so I sent to the special. I was one of the special kids, you know.
You read the short
That's
bus
always
class?
a fucking horrible thing growing up too. He's like, "Oh, I got to go to the special class," and then you become the special ed kid, and then you get that reputation when you're in the fucking 6th grade. Or
I had Russ, you're not unique. I had an individual learning plan.
ISP.
you had
Yeah.
a what?
ISPs.
ISPs.
What's that? Internet service
Individual
Student.
Yes.
planning.
individual student plan or individual learning plan. I think we called it an IEP, which
I
is an
see.
individual learning
Oh
plan.
yeah, that's what it is. You're right.
In the 80s, they just said you're special.
That's right.
and,
Yeah.
No, yeah, I don't remember what they called it in the 70s.
and figured out a more
Retarded.
socially acceptable
I think
acronym.
I think that's. I want
Yeah.
to say it's what it was.
That's what it
That
was.
was yeah. The 70s you were retarded, 80s you were special, and in the 90s you had an individual learning program.
Yeah.
Yeah, retarded is really not that insulting of a word at its base.
Right.
No, it's not.
It's just became that way. Just like the word special became that way.
Yeah.
Special. Like basically, whatever you call these kids is going to become an insult. That's the lesson we've learned.
Dirk, what's Misha hearing about the school year?
Oh, I mean, they're canceled until the next school year.
Well, one of the things Nancy's hearing, she had a meeting today with the nurses, and they're talking about year-round school to justify or to meet the social distancing requirements.
She hasn't heard anything about that.
So they'll go. Some kids will go 3 days a week. Some will go 2, and then they'll rotate the next week. So that some will go 3. So the class sizes are going to be smaller.
Yeah,
Never. It'll never happen.
She hasn't heard anything like that.
Because they can't do remote learning, right? They can't do that
they can.
full-time?
No, they can.
Can they? Is that legal?
Yeah. Yes, the state. So, Katie's in the education system. And right now the state's talking about potentially releasing or saying, okay, you come back to school in 2021. And then essentially we just distribute textbooks and Chromebooks or whatever you need to learn and go back to what we're setting up now for remote learning. And we're out through Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Really?
I mean,
Well,
it's
they just
not
say, fuck it, it's
a
public
definite.
school. We're just cancel that.
It's not a
Does Misha
definite,
still
but
have
it's
stuff in his classroom?
that's their plan.
Wow.
What's that?
Does Misha still have stuff in her classroom?
She's been able to get a lot of it.
Has she?
Yeah.
Because there's still meds in my wife's class
No.
that the kids sent. That they've
We're
got
going
to
to publish this, Steve. Don't say shit like that.
Yeah, Steve, the meds are gone tonight.
Yeah.
They're gone.
That's
Yeah,
just-
they're all the parents came and picked them up.
The Adderall?
Yeah, Adderall.
Yeah, it's all picked
That's
up.
good shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yep, gone, Steve.
Gone. All right.
Dang. School. Like I would have been like we talked about that in the last episode, but fuck, that would have been cool for me. I hated fucking school. Still
Nice.
Well, I saw a funny meme that was talking about, all through high school, all I did was skip school and get high. Today these kids have it great. There's no school. Marijuana's legal.
now you're a responsible adult if you stay home and don't go to school and don't leave your house.
Sit on the couch.
It's been a little bit sad seeing how much my son likes staying home, actually. Like, he was really not enjoying school.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I'm with him, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm okay. Yeah, that's okay, buddy. I get
Hopefully next year will be better, but we'll see. Because that's how school works, right? It just gets better the more you're in it.
you.
Yeah.
That's how it worked for me.
I would hope we're evolving as a society, but probably not.
Or not.
No, we're not, Russ.
Hey, look, I got the Black album hanging up on CD.
On CD.
It would probably never fucking play because it's just chewed up as fuck. I think I found this in a parking lot at like Mars Hill.
What
Like
is
somebody-
that, Russ?
Somebody
It's
used.
Metallica's Black album.
I've never seen something like that.
It's this old
Pretty.
technology.
Sparkly.
Yeah. I hear if you put it in your microwave and turn the microwave on, it makes it like it's new.
It makes cool colors.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
heard that kills the COVID virus too.
Yes, it does.
You just put your mail.
You know what else
like
kills
people
the
were putting
COVID
their
virus?
mail in the microwave. Oh man.
You know what else kills the COVID virus, Russ?
Alcohol.
Whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
Whiskey.
Yeah.
That's right.
So cheers.
You just gargle with some whiskey.
Uh,
You'll be all right.
does it work
I mean,
better
group-
with Swedish fish in it?
It tastes like cinnamon because of the Swedish fish cinnamon. It doesn't taste as good as the peach.
Yeah.
one.
Swedish fish aren't cinnamon, Steve. I mean,
They're not?
Russ?
I thought they had
No.
a cinnamon flavor to them. They taste like cinnamon. It
That's
does.
not
It tastes like
good.
cinnamon. It tastes like somebody took fucking Red Hots. That's what it's like. Those Red
That's
Hots.
probably what you put in there. Maybe it wasn't Swedish fish. Maybe it was Red Hots.
No, it's sweet. You can see them. They're still in there. They didn't
That's
break
not
down
good,
in
bro.
alcohol.
Russ, it was like 6 years ago. How do you know?
It was because I remember, man. I mean, it's not every day you age fucking whiskey in Swedish fish. Like,
No,
I
it's
remember
not.
that shit. Like, that's an
Oh,
unusual
first-
thing. The mind remembers unusual things, and it's the most unusual shit that you usually remember. For example, I'll be
You
right
know-
back. Hold on.
You know, I remember a time where Russ aged some cigars in a plastic
Remember
bag.
that? Yeah, and whiskey. Yeah. How did that turn out, Chuck? Do you remember?
Oh, rough.
Russ, he gone.
I gotta go put my kids down.
Speaking
Okay,
of
on that.
memory,
So this. Oh, by the way, speaking of aging cigars,
nobody cares, Derek. So sorry. We love you, but
all right, I gotta grab these.
Derek? How are you doing with being home with the family?
Things have actually been
All
running
day, every
well
day.
from that perspective.
Good book.
I mean, the kids drive us a little bonkers every once in a while, but for the most part, they've been pretty good.
Yeah.
Mitch and I are getting along pretty well. Yeah, that aspect's fine. I hate working from home so much.
I'm aging Swisher
But,
Sweets. These are Swisher Sweets.
Rush, shut up.
In the
Shut up. Shut up.
it's Cuba Cuba.
Shut up.
Just so you know.
So
Those
we
are
should
gonna
start
taste awesome.
remote learning today with the kids.
So what?
When did Misha start teaching the kids online?
Oh, she's been doing it for a little while.
Has she?
Yeah, at least she did it a lot more intensely last week. It may have been even before that, but yeah, she's been doing a lot more of that.
Well, my daughter started today in Issaquah School District, first
Okay.
grade. And she says it was a relief because she feels like she's doing something.
Yeah, yeah. Misha's been pretty busy actually.
Good.
So,
How are her parents?
say what?
How are her parents, the parents of her
They seem-
kids?
They seem to be holding up okay.
That was one of Stephanie's biggest frustrations because she's got a bunch of lazy ass parents.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it varies. She's got about 30% of the kids that engage with her.
Really?
The rest of them just can't be bothered.
What
Right.
So
what age group is she teaching?
she teaches 8th grade.
That's rough.
Yeah, the
Oh,
worst.
Oof.
The worst 8th.
Yeah,
The worst.
that
8th
is the
grade.
worst age.
I mean, in terms of being there, 7th grade was worse in terms of being in that class, but 8th grade is worse to teach because they're the oldest at the school, so that they think they're badasses and they've got everything.
Well,
figured
they have senioritis.
out, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That
it's-
age is just hard anyway.
Yep.
I actually like the whole remote learning. It is super difficult with my youngest, who's in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
And that's mostly just that age where he's kind of figuring out that, life's a bitch and you can't just go play.
You just gotta go grind it out. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to grind it out. And it's not even a grind. It's just a setting aside, learning how to prioritize things. Whereas my oldest in 4th grade, he's like, okay, I get it. I have all this crap I have to do. So if I divide it all up into the 5 days that I have, and he's legitimately doing schoolwork for maybe 3.5 hours a day.
See,
And the
my
rest of-
kids are the opposite. Mimi hates having to do schoolwork from home. She's a good
Okay.
student, but she hates doing it from home. And Joe thinks it's great. He'll sit and do homework for, like you said, 2 or 3 hours, no problem. But
Yeah.
Mimi struggles with it. She really hates it.
So is Misha giving here, do this at home, like assignments and shit like that?
Yeah, and then she has online meetings with the kids where they have video chats, and she quizzes them, and she can't grade anything because it's a equity thing, because not everybody
Yes.
has internet, which is
Huh.
stupid because
Yeah, it is stupid.
I'm pretty sure like 97% of the kids
Well-
have internet, but
So it doesn't. This is where I get triggered as fuck about this because the Everett Public School has already issued all kinds of fucking
Yeah.
Chromebooks and
hotspot.
hotspots.
Yeah,
So there should be zero lack of you can't do the work because you don't have internet.
Yeah.
Hello, let us know. We'll give you a fucking computer.
yeah, it
and
doesn't make any
internet.
sense to me either, but whatever.
If you don't do the work, we're gonna
Correct.
come get your fucking computer. Maybe that's what you do. And you cannot
No,
play
they don't
Fortnite
care.
anymore on your new Chromebook.
But
No more Fortnite
honestly-
for you.
Honestly, the whole not grading
Love
thing
you, man.
doesn't really bother me at all. Especially at their age, grades don't mean shit. Like,
Yeah.
like there's no real world repercussions on grades when you're in second and fourth grade. So, or third grade.
Isn't
Well,
that where the discipline is
but
brought in,
eighth
though?
grade-
Like you're learning to do shit.
8th grade does matter though. Aren't there certain state requirements that start
Well, there's no
in 8th
testing
grade
this
for
year.
graduation?
There's no
So
testing.
that's correct.
No, that's out the window. That's the majority of what really matters.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then other than that, in terms of grades, not really. It really starts to count in high school, but
I'm so glad that state testing wasn't a requirement to
Mm.
graduate whenever I went, because I just fucking Christmas treed that shit.
yeah.
Oh yeah, me too.
Wait, they had state testing when
Christmas
you were in
tree.
school, Steve?
Yeah, it was like
the number 2 pencil.
Iowa
baby.
Basics.
number 2 pencils.
Bullshit.
You know, you had to
You
color the
went, to,
square.
you
in.
went to school. You went to
We'll be
school in
punk
the
rock and
one-room
find a number
building,
3
didn't you?
pencil.
Yeah, and you had to take the AC. Well, I took the ACT. I had to drive up to Western to take the ACT. I didn't take the SAT.
Oh, speaking of being triggered, they fucking canceled the goddamn engineering exam. Them bastards.
Oh man.
Really?
Chuck's
Fucking
got way
assholes.
For that, or you get your money back, or what?
Supposedly, I get my money back. Supposedly.
It hasn't happened yet.
No. And then I got to talk to the state, find out if they're going to just waive my application fee for the next time they offer the test, or if they're going to refund me my money. Now, that's not as bad because it's like $35.
Yeah.
But
Mostly
the
you
fucking
just
test
wanted-
was like $600-700.
Yeah. And you wanted to take the test.
And I wanted to take it. I paid an extra $1,000 for this fucking college course to take, and I've been wasting my time studying. Fuck.
You'll remember later. It'll be okay.
I gotta go put my kids down.
All right, Derek.
All
You're
right.
gonna miss out on
A
this.
hammer-
So this was
Derek,
2
a
peeps.
hammer works best.
I
Okay.
stuffed 2 peeps in moonshine,
Can it be a rubber hammer?
and I aged 2
Yes,
peeps.
it can be a
It was
rubber
around
hammer.
Easter.
Wait, so we got Swedish fish and peeps?
Peeps. That was peeps in this one. The peeps are gone, right? They just totally dissolved. I think
Because
the
it's weird.
eyeballs were still floating
All right.
around in there somewhere.
Bye, everybody.
No,
Bye.
Derek, take care.
Bye,
buddy.
Derek.
Later, buddy.
Just so you know, Mondays are probably a better day for me in general in the future.
Yeah,
Okay.
it works better for me
Sounds good, man.
since you're not driving, Russ.
See you
I'm
guys.
not
Sorry.
doing anything, so every day.
Bye, Derek. I love you. Well, Derek's gone.
All
Ego.
right. How are you guys doing? What are you drinking, Chuck? It looks whiskey-ish.
Whiskey. We have brown water.
Yeah.
Speaking
What
of
kind?
being triggered.
What kind?
Oh, Safeway brand.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Select.
Where was that
Reserve.
last week when I was down there?
What?
I was in your house. Why didn't you bring out the whiskey? I'd have stayed longer.
Oh. Okay.
You saving that Safeway shit for a special occasion.
I tell you, my
love it.
daughter brought some brown sugar bourbon home. You ever had
Hey,
that?
I can't do it. It's too sweet.
Well, I threw like 5 ice cubes in there, and it was
Mhm.
okay. Help me on this. Friday night, I mowed the backyard, and I thought, hell, I'm gonna smoke a cigar. So I'm smoking a cigar on the deck, and drinking a beer. And maybe I smoked the cigar too fast, but I got the buzz, right? And then about
Nicotine kicking
45
in.
minutes, maybe an hour after, I started to get sick to my stomach.
Uh-oh.
I didn't cough. I didn't, like I have Chuck, like when we were over there on Whidbey Island. I'm like, you know what? This is better than sex for me. I got so freaking sick for about 20 minutes. I just threw up acid in the toilet.
Hey.
Now, what was that
From
from?
the
Was that a
cigar?
bad cigar? What would that have been from?
But Steve, it could have been anything. It could have just been nerves. It could have been something you ate before.
Psychological.
Because the
Yeah.
cigar, I tell you, I've never gotten it was buzz. I mean, I thought,
Yeah, did you get a buzz from the cigar?
yes.
It could have been the nicotine too. I mean, you can get high from nicotine.
Did you eat? If you're empty stomach, that'll do it too.
No, and then it just burned the hell out of the back of my throat. All
The
night I was
throwing up.
like, I went and I had a bowl of ice cream afterwards. I need to get something cold down there just to calm it.
Well, that's the stomach acid there.
Yeah. But it wasn't like lunch or anything. It was just like white. Oh, it was just disgusting. I never experienced it before. The closest was when we were on Whidbey Island. I barfed up dinner, but that's when I coughed up a lung smoking that weed. I never experienced it. It was weird.
Steve, wait. You smoked weed?
One time. Me one time.
Hey, speaking of being triggered, we've talked about it a couple
It's
times
legal.
today. It is. So I bought a toaster no, let me back up. So I get a call from my kids. The toaster's broken. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. This weekend I go out and buy a toaster because I'm thinking, okay, toaster's broken. Buy a new fucking toaster. Get home, and I said to the kids, what's wrong with the toaster? I buy a toaster before I ask them what's wrong with it.
Oh.
And Kane says, oh, well, when you push the button down, it doesn't stay down. Now, toasters don't stay down when they're not plugged in.
Yeah.
So I plug the toaster in, push the fucking button down, and it stays down. I'm like, oh, okay. I unplug it, and it pops up. So today, I go back to Target with the toaster, and I'm standing in line to return it, and the lady says, oh, you have a return? I said, yeah. She goes, oh, we're not doing returns right now. I'm like, what do you mean, right? What do you mean you're not doing returns? She's like, oh, well, we're not doing returns. I'm like, why? I got a receipt. I bought the damn thing, yesterday. Why? Oh, well, due to the virus. What? I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? And, and she kind of started to explain to me that, the fucking pandemic that we're having,
Right.
we're not doing returns. And I was like, no, ma'am, you're missing all of this. Like, you didn't decide personally to have Target issue a non-return policy. And she's like, no, I didn't. I'm really sorry. I'm like, no, you have nothing to be sorry about. I'm just asking a very dumb question. Does that seem reasonable? And she's like, oh, no, it doesn't. It's stupid. But it's like, fuck, just give me my like $3 back that I paid for the fucking toaster and take your toaster back.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Is something
Hey, we'll
have
risk our lives
infected
to
it?
sell you shit, but don't bring it back.
Right?
He's got the coronavirus on it.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's the grocery store. I was in line, and there was a guy in front of me trying to return something, and the lady says, "Oh, we're not doing returns right now." I'm like, "Why? I can come in here and spit and piss all over everything in the fucking store and let Bob buy it, but I can't buy something and then bring it back and return it."
Yeah, that's weird. Even
That's
Safeway,
weird.
huh? I don't think I've ever returned anything from the grocery store. Maybe once I bought something that was rotten, like I fucking get it home and it's like cheese and you cut it open and there's like
Right.
black fucking mold on the inside of the cheese.
I think even then though, I haven't returned it. I would just throw it away. Just say,
Yeah.
screw
That's
it. I'm
me,
out
but
the
Nancy brings
$3.
stuff back. I got the wrong kind of tuna. It was tuna, but it was the wrong one. So
It was the
she goes,
wrong
"Well, you
brand,
take it
Steve.
back. You take it back. I'm not taking tuna back. I'll take tools back. And I've taken stuff back to Lowe's all the time, but I'm not taking tuna back.
I took a rotisserie
Man,
chicken back once because that motherfucker was raw.
No.
I was mad. Seriously. So I buy a rotisserie chicken, and I was in the food business for 25 years, right? And food,
Shit.
safety is kind of a thing for me. Like, seriously, you're going to fucking make people sick. I remember bringing it to the thing. It was at Winco, too. It's like, is there a manager or someone around here? The manager comes up. Like,
You didn't know
you're
it
going
when
to
you
make
bought
fucking
it?
people sick, man. Like I cut it open.
It's a rotisserie chicken. Why would you think it's raw?
Yeah, it's fucking raw. Like,
Well,
you're selling
gotten
raw
some.
chickens. That's not good.
I got some deli meat at QFC, and the clerk saw it and said, "Oh, that's bad. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. No, just throw that over here. I'm gonna get you another one." And I go get another one. And she brings it and she looks at it. She says, "Oh yeah, that's better. Look at the difference. One's dark and one's lighter." And I said, "Oh yeah, expiration date was the same, but no. But I would have thought you'd. I've got rotisserie chicken at QFC, but I'm looking at it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I didn't get into it. Right? You get
Yeah,
into
you wouldn't
the
think it's
depths of
bad.
the pink meat on the inside, and then
Yeah, it might have been a sign. Point.
Russ, you need to buy your rotisserie chicken at Costco.
I don't have a Costco membership. I'm just not gonna.
Would you like a Costco membership?
Sure. Do you have an extra one?
Yeah, I'll have to find out when my thing's up. But yeah, I have 2 people on my Costco membership. Oh, speaking of Costco, so they pissed me off too.
Do I have to
Went to
buy like a
Costco
paint can of peanut butter though, Chuck? Like, I don't know if I need a paint can of peanut butter.
No, you can get the smaller ones.
You can get smaller ones.
Okay.
And yes, you need a paint can of peanut butter if you're gonna buy peanut
No, you
butter.
need a paint can of mayonnaise.
Right? It's like I can buy, a gallon of milk, or I can buy a fucking truckload of milk.
They got rid of trans fats, and I kind of miss trans fats because that shit stayed good forever, right? Like when they use trans fats and peanut butter, like shit can stay, like the McDonald's French fry you find under your seat that's like 12 years old and it looks like it just came out of the thing yesterday. You don't do that anymore. It's public safety or something.
Can I digress for a minute?
Absolutely.
Okay. I want to know why you're so gung-ho on the fact that Bill Gates isn't a fucking
I knew
murdering
that was
asshole.
coming.
It's not that I'm gung-ho about it. It was just surprising.
No, Russ, you are, because you completely dismiss the fact that anything about Bill Gates is just fact, and you're saying that it's all conspiracy theory bullshit, and nothing is true of it.
Well, some of it is. Like, it's, I mean, as a betting man, odds are, and I did research, I'm like, okay, you guys, I'll fucking do some research. So I spent about, I don't know, 7 minutes on Google, Googling all this shit, And,
Right.
and I'm looking for AP articles. I'm not going to just trust, whatever the fuck, .com, like Fox News.
No, I get it.
I would even
I
trust
get it.
Fox News over a lot of the shit that's out there, Breitbart, and there's just
No.
really
Wait, you would?
right-wing.
You would trust Fox News, or you wouldn't?
I would trust them more than like Breitbart or some of these other fringy, One Media. There's a bunch of really fringy shit out there. Epoch is the
Have
new
you
one.
seen?
Epoch Times.
Okay, so Steve, that first video you shared with me, the Out of the Shadows, I think is what it was. Okay, do you remember the clip where he was talking about the mainstream media, as I use air quotes,
Yeah.
being all kind of puppets that are choreographed by the higher power, whoever it is that controls them?
That's some QAnon
there
shit
is
right there, right? Yeah.
Yes. No, it is. And that's fine. But there is a video, and I've seen the video before, and I don't remember where it was, where it dubs, not dubs, it has all of the newscasters in a little box. And there's just every news media that's out there, and they're all saying the exact same fucking
That was
thing.
Out of the Shadows.
Oh, yeah.
For word for word. Well, yeah, there's a thing in Out of the Shadows that does that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so I'm going to believe Fox News, or I'm going to discount Fox News and say that I'm going to believe CNN or any other fucking news out there, but they're all saying the same fucking garbage.
Yeah.
So why are they any better than fucking Bob that puts out a blog that says, okay, if you look at this website and this website and this website and this website and this website, and they all say the same fucking thing.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's, if it's just a story that's out there, because there's no copyright in media, right? Like they can just, oh yeah, that came out. So we're just going to repeat what everyone else said. Sort of like pop music.
Yeah.
I was inspired by, the Beatles or whatever. And now I just, I'm One Direction and I created this hit song that sounds really a whole lot like Taxman or something like that. So I think the news does that. But you get into investigative stories. Like you better be telling the truth about that shit because,
But who's telling the truth?
Yeah, exactly. Like you
That's
could just say,
that's my
well,
frustration.
I think that you have to cite sources. Like
Yes.
you're going to do an expose on Bill Gates, euthanizing African children. You're going to get in trouble for
and
that.
that's
You don't
where
have some kind of fucking facts. Like you better.
That's where I am. I'm not there yet as far as if I believe that or not. So the video that the first video that Steve shared with me, the Out of the Shadows, talks about the Gate Foundation pushed this vaccine in, was it Kenya?
Yeah.
And it was like help world hunger or some bullshit, like whatever it was. It was this, they pushed this vaccine, and however long later they realized, like, okay, you're essentially euthanizing this population, and they denied it. They, being the Gates Foundation, denied it. And this documentary that's on YouTube called Out of the Shadows says that the Gate Foundation released a statement saying, yes, we euthanized them. And that's the one bit of fact checking that I haven't done yet, just because I just watched it the other day. But that's some scary shit. And Bill Gates is on record saying he's all about population control.
Mm.
So I don't have that's
not a real stretch for me to believe it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I go. Like, I'm not saying that it's bullshit. I'm saying that and I use this a lot. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm as a betting man,
Yeah.
I can say it's bullshit, but it could be true.
Now, I'm all for population control. There's 7.4 fucking billion people on this planet. The problem is I don't have enough money to give everybody $9 fucking in the world, whereas Bill Gates does. Bill Gates can give $9 to fucking every human being on this planet and still have money.
Of condoms?
Well, yeah, that's
all the male ones.
Like, my engineering brain says, okay, population control is essential. I mean, it's a necessity. However, no. It's no.
I think economy and education is a thing because there's a lot of land there's just nobody, and it's not all desert, or snow up in Alaska. I mean, you take Texas, for example, you could put everyone on 1,500 square feet, like every person in Texas. There's more fucking cows in Texas than there are people. So yes. I go back and forth with population because I think that it's going to figure itself out. Then you have things like COVID-19, as horrible as it is. It's a natural way of population control. I don't think it was engineered in a lab by Bill and Melinda Gates.
Steve, we share a mutual acquaintance that has shared with me about the whole population control and the over-vaccinating of people. So we are continuing to vaccinate people from smallpox. What's the MMR shots that you fucking get?
Measles, mumps, and rubella.
Yeah. So you get all of these, normal vaccinations as kids, and so that these viruses don't come in and wipe out huge populations. And so we keep pushing the envelope on how many people we can have in this planet. So eventually nature's going to just take over and push back to keep us in a give or take a symbiotic relationship So, as a civil engineer, I come in and I develop land. And when you don't maintain it, nature just takes over. The trees just grow up through the fucking buildings, and it just happens. And so part of this, I get, Russ, like, it's just nature pushing back. Like, okay, it's COVID, we're calling it COVID-19. The problem is the media on this. For me, the numbers don't make sense. We're worried about a drop in a fucking bucket. 150,000 people die every fucking day. And I'm worried about the several thousand people that died today.
Yeah,
Why?
it's subjective. I think that's where, the civil engineer brain goes with the subjective information, because the truth is, I mean, you look at New York City, you look at,
Sure, you look at
different
Italy.
countries, India, Italy,
Italy's lost tons of fucking people.
because they're all in
Sure.
their 80s, a lot of them. And then in
Yeah,
China,
but
a
they
lot of
have the
people
oldest.
smoked. But then there's guys who are dying in their 30s, and we don't know why. And it's those numbers that are puzzling. I think there's a DNA thing that this thing has grabbed onto.
No, what's puzzling for me is the people that are fucking living. Look at all the kids. 0 kids.
Yeah.
There isn't anybody that I know of under the age of like 12 that has shown signs, symptoms, and death.
But they're spreading it. Like, they have it.
Sure, they are.
Test them.
But
They've got it.
To me, that's the curious part. Is okay. So this virus doesn't show any effects of children.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that frustrates me is, like Russ was or Chuck was saying, is the numbers don't add up. Is the fact that they do not specify if you die with COVID or because of COVID, you're in the COVID numbers.
That's
For
correct.
instance, Derek's uncle, he might have died. I don't know. If he died with COVID, he's
died
on
of
that
COVID.
statistic, as
Although-
opposed to dying because of COVID.
So this is where the Chinese numbers are actually interesting to me. So the Chinese say that like 3,000 people died of COVID.
I gotta pee.
There's something like 2.2 million people that have fucking died because of COVID. Now, I use air quotes on that because it's not the Chinese government isn't reporting it that way. They had COVID, but they not necessarily died of it. So
Yeah,
when
but
you
they're saying
came
they
in-
smoked. There's a lot of men. That's why they were saying men died, because the men smoked. Most
Yes.
women don't smoke, and so most women aren't dying. But that's something they notice here too. Like, men are dying of it that didn't smoke. Like, more men in New York City caught this thing and died of it than women did, which is another interesting kind of. Like, we just don't know. Like, there's just so much we don't know, and I think
Correct.
that's
There
where the
is
abundance
tons.
of caution.
And that's one thing that we do know, Russ, is the lack of information.
Yeah.
And it's I think why, and I still compare it to the flu, not because it acts like the flu, not because it's killing people like the flu or it spreads like the flu, nothing about it. I compare it to the flu just in the realm of when you compare the death rates of flu versus the confirmed case, it timelines similar to, or not timelines, it mimics the curves. So whenever you take out all of the stuff that we know about the flu and just look at confirmed cases and death rates, it's very similar. We know a ton of fucking information about the flu. I mean, shit, the flu's been around for fucking decades. We just know a lot about it. And so we can project out what we know and say, okay, Bob or my kids get the flu. I'm not going to the fucking doctor because I got the flu.
Yeah, I
So
think
it's
like,
not
I
a
don't know if
confirmed
I've had
case.
this before. I still want to get tested for the antibodies.
Russ, I guarantee you had it.
Probably did, yeah. But I never went to the doctor. I just I almost did. I couldn't breathe one night, and I thought about telling my wife to call and fucking take me to the hospital or something. Like, it was that bad. And I remember had something where I couldn't breathe. I think the scariness and the reason for the massive reaction is the contagious aspect, right? Like it's super contagious.
It's
The spike, this
it's
whole
just
flattening the
contagious
curve,
as the flu.
this overwhelming of hospitals. That's the big fear, and it's happened.
Well,
We can,
Russ, that's the thing. It's a fear. It's not danger. It's a perceived danger.
well, people all
It's
have
fear.
died. I mean, people have overwhelmed hospitals. Like this has happened, and it probably will happen again in places like Minneapolis, for example, if people just go out and say, "Oh fuck it," will there be a resurgence of this thing? We don't know. That's the thing.
But then you got to ask the question: herd immunity, because the numbers in California don't add up versus the numbers in New York City.
Yeah.
And the fact that New York mitigated 3 or 4 days after California did, but yet California's numbers are so much lower because one of the and you're not going to get Fauci or Birx to admit it. They said, well, the data's not complete yet. But what they're finding is that the numbers in California have once all the testing is done, they're going to find that more, like Chuck just said, you've probably had it. I think I had it. Both my daughter and my wife had it. What they're going to find is that you've had it and it wasn't documented.
Yeah.
So that the numbers, and see, as we're exposed to it, then that's herd immunity builds up. Yes.
I'm raising my hand again because I didn't want to interrupt because
No,
I like your
that's good.
comment. So I have this is super fucking conspiracy theory shit that I have no problem believing whatsoever. What if this bullshit was fucking just engineered?
Well,
they've proven that it hasn't been engineered.
I
mean, there's DNA
Have they?
tests.
Is it organic or is it genetically modified?
No, Russ.
They've posted
can't prove it.
They've posted the genetic markers for the whole thing on the fucking internet and said,
Okay,
this
who's
is what
they?
it is. You can find someone with it and pull up all the genetics from the fucking virus. It's a little, they call it corona because it's got a little crown on it. I mean, we've seen the pictures, right? So it's not a mystery as to how this thing came about. Like, I would say that just based on engineering, in bioengineering, there's easy markers for shit that's been engineered and stuff that came from a fucking bat or people eating shit they probably shouldn't. This whole thing with the deer. Have you seen this fucking thing that the deer are getting? And they're telling people don't eat the deer, and they're still going to eat the fucking deer, and that's probably going to be our next outbreak. Anyway, go for it.
I have. So I hunt, and they're talking about in not only the state but the country is talking about potentially closing elk and deer season this next coming year because of this bullshit. Bullshit. I'm not gonna get some fucking virus. Deer and elk and fuck cows. Cows carry the fucking grossest diseases on the planet. Cook your fucking meat before you eat it, you fucking cannibal caveman.
Yeah, and some people aren't. And that's the thing, is when it crosses from species to species, it's a DNA thing. Like the DNA matches up.
So
that person got, that's how Ebola, that's all these fucking viruses. I don't think
as far as the research,
smart.
Russ, as far as the research on did it come from a lab or did it come from some fucking wet market in Wuhan, I got no idea. However, and again, this is me being super fucking conspiracy theory okay with, and I'm totally fine with being labeled a conspiracy theorist and fucking far out there. But Wuhan has a level 4 or level D, whatever fucking virus shit lab in the city. China has said in public, we're looking at biological warfare. We're developing biological warfare. I have zero problem. I have zero problem with them engineering it. Shit, I have zero problem with them saying, well, yes, we engineered it and we fucking released it on purpose. Doesn't bother me whatsoever. I wouldn't even blink an eye at it. Like, no, okay.
As a betting man, I'm betting that's bullshit, right? Like I'm okay with it being bullshit.
That's where I get aggravated, is because I have a harder time believing that some the WHO, right? The World Health Organization is saying, oh, it came from a fucking wet market. It came from a bat that fucked shit on a dog, that shit on a cat. Some
Yeah,
dude
well,
ate.
that's part of how they research these things. That's genetic markers. Like, you can document that shit. It's super fucking, complex. But there's people that, again, it's sort of like from how I've heard about this, because I kind of thought that like this could be, some conspiracy. I don't believe everything I hear from the fucking media either, but just doing some research in that area and learning how genetics work and DNA works. Like DNA, we live in an age where you break down fucking organisms down to math. And when all the math matches up with the fucking math from whatever it was, the bat, the deer, the fucking pig, in H1N1, like, it's not a mystery. Like, it's out there. People, if you understand this shit, you can research it for yourself, break down the numbers like you're talking about with engineering, and go, okay, it wasn't engineered. It came from a fucking bat, Now, that's not just, it's not even just our most likely, maybe that happened. It's in the math. From what I understand, doing my own research.
The 7 minutes.
No, that was
I'm with you.
That was actually
like I
back
said,
with H1N1. I got really interested in H1N1 when that whole thing happened.
No, and I get it. So, like, this virus actually fascinates me. I did some minor research at the very beginning and found why they called it COVID, talking about the crown. And I, did some more research because we're all worried about the deaths of this virus. How about the people that live? So this thing has a bunch of hooks on its head, and it grabs onto your lungs and it destroys your lungs.
Yeah.
And so your lung capacity is decreased. How do you measure that? So here I am, I'm a 23-year-old, I don't know, basketball player coming into my prime, and I catch this fucking disease.
Yeah.
Next year, I go out onto the court to play a game, and I get maybe halfway through the first half, and I'm fucking winded.
Yeah. That could be a problem.
That could be a huge problem. That's my profession, is professional basketball. I kind of need to play the whole game. So it's, how do you measure that? I mean, deaths is easy. It's a fucking number.
Yeah.
How do you measure decreased lung capacity in a 23-year-old?
Yeah.
You don't.
You put him on a machine and go, you probably can't breathe, man. Like, blow this little ball to the top of the thing.
Yeah, right. And keep it up there as long as you can.
Yeah.
So Chuck, watch
It's
the
420,
next
that bong hit. See how long you can hold that.
Watch the next
Oh,
one.
more
Feldman's
conspiracy theory. Which one?
Corey Feldman, about the pedophile.
Okay.
Ring.
So that's another thing too. The video you sent today talked about the Clinton Foundation being a
I don't know.
child sex trafficking out of Haiti, I think it was.
Right.
And I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, I'm on board. We'll just believe this,
right,
and just
right.
see where it goes. And then all of a sudden, the video stops, and there's a Bible verse on there talking about repent for your sins.
Yeah, I know.
And turn it. It's like, okay, you know what, guys? In all honesty, if you'd have left all that shit out, I could have been on board to watch this. But
I know.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, I wonder if they don't. I wonder if they don't throw that on there just to try and capture the Christian, the evangelical right.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm with you though. It to me, it just gets kind of interesting just to think about it. I don't buy into it at all, but there's some stuff that I do, because that Wuhan, that wet market, they don't have bats. It's seafood.
Yeah. I
so
know.
Like, really?
So very early on, I was it on I want to say it was on fucking YouTube, and it was just this guy talking about probability and statistics in all honesty. And he says, I don't know anything. He goes, but I know this. And it was just, fact A, B, C, and D. He goes, and none of it fucking matches what's being told.
No.
Now, as far as we talked about the QAnon and the Out of the Shadows, and what the hell was that video called today that you sent?
JFK exposes Pizzagate.
Yeah. How does all that link? It doesn't. It's coincidence. No fucking mastermind, linked the fucking COVID virus to, this bullshit that QAnon's talking about. Now it kind of plays into, well, Q has always talked about getting the people quarantined to take over the government or some bullshit. No one's fucking mastermind this shit. I guess where I'm going with it though is like where these videos and this information plays into like my fears is so the public school in this state is talking about adding the COVID to the required vaccination list when they come out with a vaccine. So now I have the Gates Foundation that is openly talked about vaccinating the Kenya population and linking them to euthanizing these kids. You have the Gates Foundation or Bill Gates himself talking about population control. And now I have the fucking state telling me that I have to vaccinate my kids against this fucking virus that is, again, unfortunately, it's very similar to the flu. That's fucking scary.
Yeah.
Now I only have my kids half time. I'm divorced. So I can't control what the other person does. And unfortunately, they're just out in left field anyway, and they don't fucking talk to me, and they just do what they fucking please. But so here you have a foundation that's pushing for a fucking vaccine, the same foundation that's fucking okay with population control. Whereas this, the Out of the Shadows, they link fucking Bill Gates to the pedophile ring shit, which I don't know how any of those two connect.
No, I don't either.
But
if I'm a betting man.
Russ is back. Thanks, Russ. But that plays into my fears, and I have to understand that they are my fears. It's not danger yet, but again, it's just all of the signs make sense to me. They talked about Bill Gates.
The measles came back though, right? Like there's some of these immunizations that I think are smart because the fucking measles killed a lot of people, and it made a comeback recently.
Russ, 150 fucking thousand people die every goddamn day.
So we should just let the measles run rampant? Like it's fucking...
Sure, why not?
You don't need to, give your kids a...
What's the difference between them? Russ, what's the difference between measles and fucking medical malpractice? Malnutrition.
Measles and malnutrition?
Opioids.
I think you
DUI deaths.
It's just different.
Suicide. Yeah. Russ, what? Suicide.
That's the thing my wife and I have gone around on, because I started pulling out statistics for her. I said, state of Washington, guess how many people died in car accidents last year? Boom.
Yeah.
Guess how many people died of opioid overdoses? Boom. Guess how many people died of suicide? Boom. It's
what's the leading cause of death?
It's just different. Like,
why? Why is it different, Russ?
Because you don't catch suicide or opiate addiction. I remember recently I saw somebody posting like porn, like, oh, it's a pandemic, like porn. I'm like, no, porn's not a pandemic. Like you fucking click on, you put in a website address to get your fucking COVID-19. Like that's not a disease. Or, I always had a hard time in recovery groups with calling alcohol a disease. I was like, I don't go to 7-Eleven and pick up a fucking 6-pack of influenza. Like who does that? It's different. Like sure, there's a behavioral disease thing going on, but disease when it's by no fault of your own because some asshole takes their kid to school who's got fucking measles, and then 30 kids in the class got measles. And that scars you for the rest of your life. Like fucking measles scars. There's people that still have.
Yeah, I got chicken pox scars.
Yeah, and measles is even worse, from what I understand. Measles is a horrible disease. In LA, there's like a big homeless encampment where like fucking the plague, and they're down there testing people, and people are coming like, you know, it just the way they're living. There's these old medieval diseases.
Okay,
It's
so
scary
for me
shit.
personally,
like,
Russ,
pandemics are scary
Russ,
shit.
medical malpractice. That has nothing to do with me whatsoever.
It does if your kids get sick from somebody bringing their kids to school because they don't like measles vaccination.
No,
or they don't like
if I die,
vaccination.
screw everybody else. I'm talking about if I die.
If you die of what?
Medical malpractice. It's the same as if I die from COVID-19. I have zero choice in that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Is society, and that's the interesting part of this conversation. How does society decide, and how do we trust who's, you know, telling who to get shots and
That's exactly
and
the
obey
point.
traffic laws and things like that, right? Like, how can we trust you? And I think when it comes to something as complex as a bio, you know, organism, most people just aren't going to wrap their mind around that, and they're going to have to trust someone. So, you know, what do we do? Like, this is an interesting social experiment that we're all living through, because that's kind of going on right now. You know, you have all these protesters that are like, we're protesting this, and I don't like it. Like, I just don't like it. And we don't really know. And even the scientists will say that, the people that are telling everyone to stay home. Well, if we all go out, is everyone going to die? Well, odds are, you know, if I'm a betting man, again, that fucking spike will overwhelm hospitals and we'll be fucked. And people who it's not the people that have COVID or
Russ.
heart attack,
How many fucking
stroke or
Russ?
High blood pressure?
How many people die of the fucking flu every goddamn year?
A lot. I haven't had a flu shot in 10 years, but I'll tell you what, this thing freaks me out.
You're better off.
Like, I know people that have died. Steve knows people that have died of this thing.
Yeah. So, and Derek, he just talked, you know, he talked about his uncle, and I'm not discounting any of that. It sucks. It's sad. What I am talking about, though, is how many people die from the flu every year?
You're right. A lot of people die from the flu, but this is
how many people get sick from the flu and have hospitalizations?
So you think that somebody just decided that this flu, we're going to lock everybody up at home because this one is the one
Russ,
that, you know, the fucking shadow guy who made the conspiracy show or whatever, like, he's the one that, like, engineered this whole thing.
No, Russ, I don't think that all of a sudden somebody decided that we're going to jump on board with this fucking flu and blow it out of proportion. What I am saying, though, is I don't see the numbers adding up in the realm of what I'm being shown.
Yeah.
What I don't
I'll agree with you on
that. Has my life changed at all since this pandemic has happened? Zero. I go to work every fucking day, which I'm not really thrilled about. There is a total of 3 people in my office. We don't ever really exist in the same room ever. I mean, we all have our own spaces in this office. That hasn't changed. We existed like this before this pandemic.
Right.
You know, like, my life has not changed. I'm not an outgoing person. I don't just randomly go and, you know, I'm the opposite of Steve. Essentially, I don't need people to contact, you know, like, interaction with human beings for the most case. I'm okay with being, I'm sitting at home by myself.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
My job before all of this was being a Lyft driver, and I was in an accident which ended that. But that wasn't just it that ended it, because, you know, I could have got into the car and went back to work or something. But there's no business right now. Like, people are not out there jumping into Uber and Lyfts right now. Like, it's the business has been so diminished that, you know, people are just leaving. People renting the cars are just taking the cars back. Even though they cut the rental fees in half for the weekly rental, people still aren't able to make as much business, so they're taking the cars back. I mean, you know, stuff like that. And it sucks. What do you do? And I got a job. Speaking of the whole thing with face to face, eye to eye, I did this thing trying to find a job for 4 years, and when I get in an accident, I go to the towing company and I meet people there that I kind of knew. Dick's Towing, the guy that works there, or the guy that runs the place, and I got a job there because they know me. I had some skills, right? And and then I get laid off because all the new hires are laid off. We're gonna call you back when this is all over. It sucks. And then Pet Boys, I get a job there, and then the guy's like, "Yeah, we're gonna have you start on April 4th," and then he calls back on April 4th and says, "Yeah, sorry, there's a hiring freeze," shit like that. So now I'm probably gonna get up at 3 a.m. and see if I can file for unemployment. So that's my life with this thing. Sucks, buddy.
But I got a long commute home, buddy.
Yeah. We better wrap this up. Hey,
Yeah.
if you're watching, thank you that you stuck with us this long.
Hey, I'm Chuck, by the way.
That's Chuck. It says you're.
I'm a long time listener, first time caller.
First time visitor.
First time visitor. First time. This is actually my first Zoom meeting ever, guys. So I want you to. Yeah, I've never.
Nice.
I don't need to have Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
Well, as they say, where we go one, we go all.
Hey, hold on. I'm gonna cheers to that. My glass never gets empty. I don't understand this.
It's a magic glass.
I finished mine.
Cheers.
I dipped into the Swedish fish.
Oh, you said you had some moonshine of the Peeps.
The Peeps, yeah. This tastes like Kool-Aid, and it doesn't even have that bite to it.
Is that better than? Yeah, so that's better than. Oh, Steve left. I wanted to say goodbye to him. What an asshole. Is the Peeps better than the Swedish Fish?
It depends, It's like Kool-Aid. It doesn't have that whiskey taste. Like, it doesn't have a bite to it. Like, this kind of tastes like fucking, what is that? That shit all the kids are drinking, the cinnamon stuff. What is that? Do you remember?
No, I'm not a kid anymore.
What are all the kids drinking today? Oh, fuck. My daughter likes it. She's 30, by the way, all right?
Yeah, right?
Still watching out there. It's like she's 15 upstairs. What are you drinking? No, fire something.
Oh, Fireball.
Fireball, that's it. This kind of tastes like fire.
Yeah.
Kind of. But it's got more of a bite to it. Like it's moonshine. So you smell it. It kind of smells like rocket fuel. But it tastes like cinnamon and rocket fuel. So there you go.
Have you ever had rocket fuel?
Yeah. Ethanol is probably pretty close to what you probably should use. Ethanol. That'll fuck you up. But alcohol will burn.
When I was a kid, I say kid, I was 21, maybe. Moved back to Pittsburgh. Called up a buddy of mine from high school. Let's hang out. I haven't been back in the city for a while. Let's, get together. He comes and picks me up. And he has a mason jar, very similar to this.
Yeah.
With some liquid in it, like this. Crystal clear. And I spin the top off the jar, pop the lid. And he kind of looks over like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to have a drink. I assumed it was moonshine. And I get to like here. And he kind of, stops the car very abruptly, grabs out of my hand. And he's like, oh, I wouldn't do that. Okay. Why? He's like, oh, that's PCP.
Oh, shit. Liquid PCP.
What the fuck are you doing with a mason jar with... I don't know what that volume is, but that's a lot.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing with it? He's like, oh, Like, no, I don't.
No,
like, I have zero idea why you would have that.
Oh, man.
Fucking kill me.
Yeah, that would mess you up.
A
Acid.
little bit.
There was a guy that
Ooh.
used to wander the streets here in Everett called Crazy Mike, and the story with him is that he ate his girlfriend broke up with him, brokenhearted, fucking teenager shit, and he ate a whole sheet of acid, and he just never was the same. Like he overdosed on
wow.
shit, like it shrunk his brain and just like
Yeah.
it stayed that way, you know. So, yeah. Well, hey, buddy,
Well, that's
I'm gonna sign off,
okay.
but it's
It
been
was
good.
nice seeing you, Russ.
Yeah, it's
Catching
been
up.
good hanging out with you, man, and we'll have to Zoom again sometime.
Thanks for watching. It's reverse psychology. See what we did there? Give 'em a like and a sub. Okay then, cheerio.